Definitely a matchup that we haven't seen at all this season. We usually do have the height advantage. Definitely don't this game, but I think both teams are definitely very aggressive, play good defense, have a lot of offensive firepower. So I think it's really going to be a battle. Kind of similar styles of play, but then again, we kind of have more. Our bigs are more like guards, like compared to most teams. Like we don't really have like set like bigs that are just like in the paint, things like that. So it'll be a little bit different than what we're used to playing, but I think it's going to be a really fun matchup.
I think that other than the size advantage, I think that it's still going to be one of those games where it's very similar to playing ourselves. I think that they definitely have size on us, but I think some of our players, though, have a really good shot of being able to kind of work with that. We've been practicing different strategies for that at practice, and I think that we can use our other positives and our other skills and to kind of counteract the size advantage that Bedford has on us.
I think we've definitely seen a lot of teams that are a little similar to us. I think Londonderry was kind of similar to us. Portsmouth is definitely very similar to us. I think when we played against Dover, it's kind of like how Bedford will be because they got the big girl on their team. So we got a little bit of experience with that. We got experience with the Portsmouth big girl. So I think we've got a little bit of experience going into it. It's definitely going to be a different kind of game for us, considering the teams we've been playing. But we just got to go out there and play our game.
Lana was the main issue for us last year, but I think this year, she's obviously still going to be an issue. She's a big player on the team, and she contributes most of her points. But I think I've seen a lot of growth in Benz and Alex, the way they can guard the bigs. Because when we played Dover, Alex did an amazing job on Lily, and I think she can help guard Lana when we play them on Friday. And also, Ben's played, I don't remember who she played exactly, but I just remember her playing a big girl, and she did an amazing job. So I think with the two of them, we can definitely, we have a chance.
I do think defensively we'll be able to figure out and deal with the Lana McCarthy and the Kate Allard. We're going to have to hold our defensive structure to make sure we can make up for what we're going to lack without having Sid for the offensive end. So I do think we're a more mature team. I think defensively we're far better than we were last year. Even with Sid out of the equation, I still think we're better defensive than we were last year. So I think they'll approach it with confidence. I think they'll believe in their defensive structure. And I think they're going to approach Bedford the way they would have if we had Sid, with confidence and a knowledge that if we play this game right, we're hanging around with that team. So I do think last year will help us in this. I think Alex also helps us with this. And Emily was a starter last year. So it shouldn't be a shock to Emily to get inside that game with Bedford. But we'll see at tip-off.
I think in this game we try things. We see what works well when we play them and what doesn't. We're going to try and win this game. We have a lot of pride, and obviously we want to win as many games as possible, especially to it would be a huge statement win for us because everybody has them ranked above us, and I think that it's going to be a competitive game, but if we could win, that would be great for us. But if we don't win, I think we will have learned a lot going into the rest of the season.
You want to have some bumps in the road so that you know how to handle them when they come. And if it came during the playoffs, it wouldn't have been so great. So I'd rather have it happen now and then be full strength for the playoffs.
I'm really excited, but I'm also very nervous because this is a big game, and if we don't have Sid there, that means I'm likely gonna have to be the point guard again, and I'm just nervous for that aspect of it. But I love playing these big games mainly because of the bench energy and the crowd, because I just think that's really fun.
Say this, I laugh about it, and this isn't condescending, I'm serious about this. If coaching basketball was just about basketball, the job would be easy. There's so much more to basketball. So the discussions we've been having this whole week is they want instant gratification. So of course, because they're players, man, and they want to get out there. So they want desperately for Friday to be the game they win, and I've been trying to teach them Friday isn't the game you need to win. We're always going to try to win. We're never going to go into a place trying to lose. We're going to try to win. But if you look at the big picture, do you want the instant gratification, or do you want the journey that gets you to the end? If you want to get to the end of this, if you want to be at the very end, this game doesn't matter. It's everything around it. You need to hold your own. But the goal is, and the hope is, you meet them again. You meet them in game 2. And game 2 is the game you want to win. And again, if I'm taking lessons from my coaching career, we had a great season 2 years ago. And we beat BG on our home court in the regular season, and God, did that feel good in that moment, that instant gratification. And then they handed it to us in the semifinals. So if I'm learning anything, big picture, tons of respect for Bedford. I personally think Bedford's there at the end. So I think if we get there, I think it'll be against Bedford. So our goal is we figure out the blueprint, we give them everything we have. But the bigger picture is more important. If you're going to win a championship, it comes down to the second time you see them, not the first time.
It's a big mental game going into that. Obviously, we want to win every game, and we're obviously going to try our hardest to win the game. But I know if we do lose, we'll be better off, because I'd rather lose now than lose in the playoffs, and it's hard to beat the same team twice either end. So if they beat us, they're going to have to beat us again with Sid, which makes it 10 times harder. So I just feel like mentally we'll all be in a place where we're like, oh no, we lost. Like, it's going to suck if we do. But we're going to try our hardest, and we're all going to know we left everything on the court in that time.
I think that if we don't win this game, we just take it as what can we build off of for playoffs, because I think win or lose, we'll eventually see them again, and I think that if we can use this game, win or loss, to build off of and be able to improve and get ready for playoffs, I think it is a win for us.
We know what we have from our team, and we know what they have. We've seen them play, and they're returning a lot just like we did. So I don't think there's going to be any surprises, but I think it's all about just finding the ways to exploit their weaknesses, and they're going to do the same to us, but trying to take advantage of as many opportunities as we can, because we know how talented they are, especially in that post, and they've got size in which we usually can rely on our size for a lot of things, so it's going to be a good challenge for us, and I think it's going to make us a lot better.
I think the team needs to go in with our heads high, and we need to not focus on, oh, we're undefeated, we can't lose. Like, it shouldn't be that mindset, but it should be, we want to go out there and try to win this game. But it's not going to be, I could care less about being undefeated going into the playoffs. I actually think that's not a very good thing, being undefeated going into the playoffs. I think we just need to go in with our heads high and come out with our heads high no matter the outcome.
It definitely was, like, you could tell that there were two talented teams just going at it. I mean, it was super fast paced. So you knew it was kind of going to be a high scoring game. I feel like after that, we kind of went away from what was working in the first quarter, and we just weren't focusing on how we usually do and what like makes us successful. I think we were kind of going back to old habits, and I think that kind of just turned the tables a little
I
bit.
said this in the locker room too. I think when we first started the game, we were out there treating it either as if we were the better team or they were the better team. We didn't really look at it as if we were on the same level. And I think after that first quarter, we started to realize we were on that same level. And then from that point on, we just tried to stay at that level, and they pushed it up, and then it just got away from us from then on.
I've spent the whole weekend thinking about that game. When we had to take Alex out because she had 2 fouls. So now I'm down my screen and roll option. I'm down Sid still. So creation became even harder. And Alex is just a dirt dog, so Alex does those little things. So when we lost her, we lost the presence on the inside as well. And Alex is a leader. She doesn't always present that way when we're doing group stuff or we're having team talks, but on the court, Alex is a natural leader for us. So I think the loss of Alex's leadership was the difference between that first quarter and that second quarter.
I think that our energy dropped a little bit, and I think that our energy throughout the game had a lot to do with our performance.
I think the energy definitely went down a little bit, and you could just see it, like, kind of on defense especially. And then when the other team was converting on offense, our defense went down and our offense went down. We kind of just lost motivation, I think, a little bit. But this is a lot of adversity that's hitting our team right now.
It was mostly just frustration. Like, I think we were getting in our heads a little bit too much, and even though it was a 1-point game, we were like picking out every little thing that we were doing wrong and just staying in our heads, and I think that's why we started to go downhill from there.
I feel like just us being like, oh, we can do this, we got it, and then that mindset stuck with us, and we were like, oh, it was a constant game of playing catch up, because we would do good, and then we would get on this like little high, I guess, and then we would come back, and then we would be down, and then it was just a whole cycle of going up and coming back down, going up and coming back down, and then towards the end when it's just started, we got it down, and we just couldn't get back up.
someone that notices things like that, because not everyone does, and especially from Sydney, because she's been my best friend since like preschool. So it's nice that she still like picks up on these little things, and she knew I was frustrated and she was trying to get me out of my head, which I thought was awesome.
I was just kind of telling her, keep your head up, because getting put into that position where you're the point guard and kind of all the responsibilities on you, that's definitely not easy, especially in a game like that. And she's also one of my best friends, and I could tell that she was a little frustrated. I mean, we all were. And I couldn't be out there on the court, but I could go help my teammate out and tell her to keep her head up. So I'm going to do as much as I can.
Sid's a fantastic leader. I actually told her that. I said, while I miss your talent on the court, I can't believe how much I miss your leadership. And I actually said to her, I haven't given you enough credit for the leader you are. It's that idea of once you don't have what you've always had, it becomes quite clear what you're missing. And that was another example of Sid trying to be a really positive member of our culture. She already cares about Emily. She cares about Emily's confidence. She's constantly working with Emily on her confidence. So I think when she saw Em come out, Sid just knew instantly to go down there and give her a pep talk, because Em can get down on herself. We're all working on her. We want Emily to be and see who Emily truly is. So I have a feeling that was just Sid, letting her know, you got this, girl. You're doing everything you can for the team. And that's just a reflection of their friendship, but also the kind of player Sid is. As the coach, I take full responsibility and full blame for that loss. It's clear I did not set them up, didn't give them a blueprint that would allow for success against Bedford. Didn't give them a blueprint that would allow for them to handle the adversity they were going to see in that game, especially not having Sid. It added some more adversity not having Sid. We talked about things. I had been talking to them about things, certain things that I just felt the past 3 weeks we weren't doing really well with. But I didn't give them that blueprint to kind of get through that. So I take full responsibility for that loss. I stand by what was frustrating me. I don't think I handled my frustration well, but I stand by what was frustrating me because these were things that had been repeated for 2 or 3 weeks.
There's definitely a lot of takeaways from that game. I think we learned a lot. I think it definitely showed what we need to be focusing and working on practice. Made a lot of mistakes, and sometimes when you're playing against not so good teams, it's okay to make these mistakes. But in those big games, one little mistake can turn into a run for the other team. So we definitely learned a lot, and now we know what we need to be working on in the future.
I think we just need to take it for what it was, and we're not going to forget this loss. We're going to keep it in the back of our heads at our practices and at our future games. And I think we need to learn from it, but we do need to move on from it. But it doesn't mean we're going to forget about it.
I think there's a lot of things we need to learn from Friday. I think one of them being how to play without Sydney and not get in our heads, because I think without Sydney there, we lose some of our leadership. Even though she's on the bench, she's not on the court with us. And I think we need to learn that we can play without her. Obviously, she is a great asset to our team, and she helps our team a lot, but we can still play without her. And it still shouldn't be a 37-point difference without her. That's one of the things. And then also, we just need to be more focused on defense, because even without Sydney there, that's not something she could necessarily control. It's a whole team thing.
Just because we're so good doesn't mean you can't be you can be put aside. You could be hey, this is what we are, this is who we are as a team, and it showed that we were clearly on this run of we're winning, and then we got hit in the face in the first half, and we were oh, we can't do what we normally do. We had to switch things up, and I think the change that quickly in a span of a game, the 16 minutes, we just couldn't keep up and handle it. But I know now we need to be quicker. We need to make better decisions, and those things will definitely show later in the season.
I think it was a good message of we have to just keep getting better, and that we were undefeated going in. We had been games that shouldn't have been or should have been very close. We've been able to pull away from. We'd been playing really well, but just knowing that whatever we did last game is not good enough for the next game, and that each day at practice we got to be working to just get that little bit better each and every time. And I think from that game we have a lot to learn. A lot of it were stuff we've done better in the past, but there are some things that have kind of been an issue that's been slowly growing. So those are things that became really prominent for us on things we need to focus on for the future.
This game required a lot of unpacking and a lot of watching film and being able to kind of pick the parts that, okay, this is what we need to work on for next time. Okay, we did this well, but we did this awful, and we need to kind of reevaluate where we're at with that.
Just a genuine butt whooping, for sure. There's no getting out of that. But I think if you're a coach and you try to keep perspective, there are lessons everywhere. And some of your worst defeats can create some of your best successes. So as long as we don't hinder ourselves from this loss and move forward from it, I think there is growth that can happen.
We just have to move on, but we can't forget about the game. It's always going to be in the back of our minds, and it should be, because there's a lot of lessons to take from that game, and I think leadership being one of them. I know personally I should have had more leadership in that game, and I should have done more little things than I did. And I think we just need to move past what we need to not forget about the game. and we're still going to be second seed if we win our next 3 games. So we just kind of have to move past it, but don't forget it.
Getting to be like that, I mean, it just sucks no matter what kind of team you are, but obviously you can't just like take nothing from that. You have to take the lessons that you learn from that and move on and figure out ways that you can learn lessons and what you can take from that, because the season doesn't end here. We still got a couple more regular season games, and then it's playoffs, and playoffs is just like honestly a brand new season. We have to get better. We'll be seeing teams that have seen us before, so we definitely have to make improvements.
I definitely think that this kind of puts a chip on our shoulder, makes us want to prove as a team that we are better than how we performed on Friday night. And I think that it will kind of light a fire under us to kind of make us, I don't know, be able to excel further in the future and kind of learn from that. And we haven't lost prior to that, so I think it's good for us mentally to be able to kind of readjust and reevaluate where we're at as a team.
I had closure knowing that that game wasn't who we are and that the game doesn't define us at all. Just going through the whole season about the other teams that we've beat that have also been very difficult teams to beat, that game doesn't define us at all. Yes, it was bad, and yes, we need to recognize what we did wrong. But the next day, I know I had to wake up, go to work. I had a whole day. I had to go to homecoming. I had a whole day I planned ahead of me, and it was good to get my mind off of it. But then Sunday rolled around, and I was reminded, oh, that happened. So
It wasn't the end of the world. I mean, it didn't go the way that we expected it to, nor the way we wanted it to. But the sun did rise again, and we are going to take it and learn from it, and that's what's going to happen.